You clock in at 9 a.m., grind through emails and meetings, skip lunch to meet deadlines, and finally drag yourself home at 6 p.m. Your paycheck says you make $30 an hour. Sounds decent, right? You do the math in your head. 8 hours times $30 equals $240 a day, but when you check your bank account at the end of the month, something feels terribly wrong. Where did all that money go? You are not living large. You are not taking fancy vacations. Yet somehow you are still living paycheck to paycheck. And that emergency fund you promised yourself you'd start, still at zero. Here is the truth nobody wants to tell you. That $30 hourly rate is a beautiful lie. By the time the system finishes with you, you are actually taking home something closer to $4 an hour in real purchasing power. And no, I am not exaggerating. I've spent years obsessing over why hardworking people stay broke while others seem to build wealth effortlessly. And I discovered something that changed everything. There's a concept I call the real wage illusion. And understanding it is the difference between working until you are 70 and actually building a life of financial freedom. The real wage illusion is simple. Your nominal wage, that number on your job offer letter, means almost nothing. What matters is your effective wage. What you actually keep and can use to build wealth after all the hidden extractions, fees, taxes, and forced expenses that nobody talks about during salary negotiations. Let me break down exactly how your $30 hour becomes $4. First, taxes take their cut. Federal income tax, state tax, Social Security, Medicare. Right off the top, you are losing about 25 to 30% depending on where you live. So that $30 immediately drops to around $21, but we're just getting started. Now you need to get to that job, right? Whether you are driving or taking public transit, commuting costs you money. The average American spends about $5,000 a year on commuting. Gas, car maintenance, insurance, parking, or transit passes. Let's say you work 2,000 hours a year. That is a standard full-time schedule. $5,000 divided by 2,000 hours equals $2.50 per HR just to show up. Your $30 wage just became $18.50. But wait, you can't show up to work in pajamas. You need professional clothes, dry cleaning, maybe makeup or grooming supplies? Conservative estimate? Another $1,500 a year? That is another 75 cents per hour gone. We're down to $17.75. And because you are working all day, you are not cooking. You are grabbing coffee on the way in, buying lunch, maybe picking up dinner on exhausted evenings. The average working American spends about $3,000 a year on food they wouldn't buy if they had time to cook. That is another $1.50 per hour. Now we're at $16.25. Here is where it gets really painful. Childcare. If you have kids, you are paying someone else to watch them while you work. The average cost of childcare in America is about $12,000 per year per child. For one child, that is $6 per hour of your wage gone. We're down to $10.25. But let's keep going because the system isn't done with you yet. You are stressed from work, so you spend money to cope. Streaming subscriptions, occasional retail therapy, that gym membership you barely use but keep, because you promise yourself you'll go. These lifestyle maintenance costs add up to about $2,000 a year for most people. Another $1 per HR gone. $9.25 remaining. Now factor in the opportunity cost. While you are at work, you are paying other people to do things you could do yourself if you had time. Lawn care, house cleaning, oil changes, home repairs. You are too tired to do them yourself, so you outsource. Another $1,500 a year, another 75 cents per hour. We're at $8.50. And don't forget the health costs of a stressful job. Higher insurance premiums, co-pays for stress-related doctor visits, medication for anxiety or high blood pressure. Another $1,000 a year, 50 cents per hour, $8 even. But here is the real kicker. The part that drops you from $8 to $4. Inflation and lifestyle inflation. Every year your money buys less. That $8 of purchasing power today will only buy about $6 worth of goods in 5 years at current inflation rates. And as you earn more, You unconsciously spend more. You move to a slightly nicer apartment. You upgrade your car. You start buying organic groceries. This lifestyle inflation eats another 30 to 40% of any raises you get, so that effective $8 wage. In real terms, in actual wealth-building power, it functions like $4 an hour. Let me show you what this looks like in real life. Meet Sarah. She is a marketing manager making $75,000 a year. Sounds great, right? That is about $36 an hour. Sarah lives in a decent apartment, drives a reliable car, has student loans, and tries to save but never quite manages. After taxes, she takes home about $54,000. Her rent is $1,800 a month, that is $21,600 a year. Car payment, insurance, and gas. Another $7,000 student loan payments, $6,000 food, utilities, phone, internet, another $9,000. That is $43,600 in basic expenses. She has $10,400 left for the entire year. That is about $200 a week for everything else. Clothes, entertainment, gifts, travel, emergencies, and savings. One car repair, one medical bill, one wedding gift, and that cushion evaporates. Sarah works 50 weeks a year, 40 hours a week. That is 2,000 hours of her life. For $10,400 of actual discretionary income. That is $5.20 per hour of real money she can actually use to build wealth. And Sarah is doing better than most. She has no kids, no major health issues, and a decent salary. Now compare Sarah to Michael. Michael makes the same $75,000, but he understood the real wage illusion early. Instead of renting, he house-hacked, buying a duplex and renting out the other unit to cover his mortgage. His housing costs dropped from $1,800 a month to $300. That is $18,000 a year back in his pocket. He bikes to work 3 days a week, cutting his transportation costs in half, saving $3,500 a year. He meal preps on Sundays, saving about $2,000 a year on food. He negotiated remote work 2 days a week, saving on gas, and buying back 10 hours a month for side projects. Michael's discretionary income isn't $10,000. It is $33,000. Same salary, same hours worked, but his effective wage is $16.50 per hour instead of $5.20. Over 10 years, Sarah will accumulate maybe $100,000 if she is incredibly disciplined. Michael will accumulate $330,000, plus he is building equity in his duplex. Same work, triple the wealth, just because he understood what was really happening to his money. Now I know what you are thinking. This sounds depressing. If the system is rigged to extract most of my wage, what is the point? I don't have money for a duplex. I can't just bike to work. I have real constraints. I hear you, and you are right to push back. But here's what most people miss. You don't need to fix everything at once. You just need to plug 1 or 2 of the biggest leaks. Every dollar you keep is a dollar that can work for you instead of disappearing into the system. Another objection I hear constantly, but Danny, I need my car. I need to look professional. I need to eat. You are telling me to live like a monk. No, I am not. I am telling you to be intentional. There is a massive difference between spending money because you consciously chose to and spending money because the system designed your life to require it. Most people never question the default path. Get a job far from home. Buy a car to get there. Buy clothes for the office. Buy convenience food because you are too tired to cook. Every step seems necessary, but the whole path is optional. Here's what you can actually do, starting today, to keep more of your real wage. First, calculate your own effective wage. Write down your gross hourly rate, then list every expense that exists because of your job. Commuting, professional clothes, convenience food, childcare, stress spending. Divide those annual costs by your annual work hours. Subtract that from your gross wage. The number you get will probably shock you, and that shock is useful. It shows you where you are actually starting from. Second, attack your biggest leak. For most people, that is housing, transportation, or food. Can you move closer to work and ditch the car? Can you negotiate remote work even 1 day a week? Can you house hack or get a roommate? Can you meal prep just Sunday and Wednesday to cut your food costs in half? You don't need to do everything. Just fix your biggest leak, and you'll immediately increase your effective wage by $2 to $5 an hour. That is $4,000 to $10,000 a year back in your pocket. Third, negotiate for what actually matters. Next time you are job hunting or up for a review, don't just ask for more money. Ask for remote work. Ask for flexible hours. Ask for 4-day work weeks. A 4-day work week at the same salary is effectively a 25% raise in hourly terms. Plus, you get back 52 days a year to cook, exercise, do your own home repairs, and maybe build a side income. The value of time is invisible in salary negotiations, but it is often worth more than a 10% pay bump. Fourth, build anti-fragile income streams. Your job wage will always be extracted from. That is how the system works. But income from assets, from side projects, from skills you monetize on your own terms, that income has way fewer extractions. No commute cost, no professional wardrobe, no childcare because you work when the kids are asleep. $1,000 a month from a side project is worth more than a $5,000 raise at your day job because you keep more of it. Fifth, automate your wealth building before the extractions happen. If you wait until the end of the month to save, there will be nothing left. The system is designed to take everything you don't protect. Set up automatic transfers the day your paycheck hits. Even if it is just $50, automate it. That money never enters your mental spending pool, so it never gets extracted. $50 a week for 30 years at 8% growth is $316,000. That is the difference between retiring and working until you die. Look, I am not here to tell you that understanding the real wage illusion will make you rich overnight, but I am telling you that most people work their entire lives without ever realizing how much of their wage disappears before they can use it. They blame themselves for not saving enough, for not getting ahead, when the truth is the game was rigged from the start. You are not bad with money. You are playing a game where the rules extract most of your earnings before you even see them. But here is the good news. Once you see the game, you can change how you play. Every extraction point is a choice. Even if it doesn't feel like one, you can choose to live closer to work. You can choose to negotiate for flexibility. You can choose to cook instead of buying convenience. You can choose to build income that isn't tied to trading hours for dollars. Each choice plugs a leak. Each leak you plug increases your effective wage. And your effective wage is the only number that actually matters for building wealth. The difference between financial stress and financial freedom isn't usually a bigger salary. It is keeping more of the salary you already have. It is understanding that your $30 hour is really $4, and then systematically fighting to turn it back into 10, then 15, then 20. Every dollar you reclaim is a dollar that can compound, that can work for you, that can eventually buy back your time. So here is my challenge to you. Calculate your real effective wage this week. Actually, do the math. See how much you are really keeping, then pick one leak. Just one, and plug it. Maybe it is packing lunch 3 days a week. Maybe it is negotiating one remote day. Maybe it is canceling subscriptions you don't use. Start small, but start. Because every person I've seen build real wealth started exactly where you are, working a regular job feeling broke, despite a decent salary, and then waking up to the real wage illusion. If this opened your eyes, do me a favor. Share this with someone who is working hard but staying broke. They're not failing. They just don't know the game they're playing. And if you want more strategies to keep more of your money and build real wealth, hit subscribe. I am obsessed with finding the clearest path from financial stress to financial freedom, and I share everything I learn. You've already put in the work. Now let's make sure you actually keep the rewards. The system will take everything you let it. So stop letting it. Your future self will thank you.